And again, I can't stress enough that we are working with all the different states, including Wisconsin. I know there are a lot of states that are in the same boat as Wisconsin. It's not like we decided to have a moratorium and thought, oh well, good luck. We have been working with the states. We have been working with your affiliate chapter presidents. We have been in contact with them. And I wish I could tell you exactly what is going to happen, what the plan is, how long the moratorium is, but I can't. But I want you to know that we are taking into consideration your needs and the work that you want to provide. Are there any other questions? Yes, David. Thank you. I promise I won't keep hogging you all the time. We'll see though, who knows? How do I phrase my question? RID has had this focus on certification and is focused on being a membership organization, and I feel like there's a conflict of interest in that. So I'm wondering if there's a possibility that RID could consider just becoming a member organization and allowing another organization to run certification. Do you know if that's on the table for discussion, or do you know if that's something they refuse to do? Say. So I'm curious, what do you think? Should we be considering that? Well, yes, of course. I think you should. Thank you, thank you. I like the applause. All right, I got you. You got my back. Yes. I don't know if RID should set up that organization. I don't know, but I do feel like they should be separated, because I feel there's a strong conflict of interest in being a member organization and having to pay for certification and then have to earn CEUs, plus just being a member where I'm supported as a professional. So maybe the membership cost could be less. Excuse me. If the conflict of interest lies in if they have to throw someone out, then they would lose money. So there's an obvious conflict here. But I don't know what the solution is. And I'm hoping within the report you received, there were aspects and ideas of possibilities of something that could recognize this problem. You know, it doesn't seem like RID can continue the way it's been going, but how we separate it and how we deal with that, I don't know. So to be honest, I have no answer. I just have a lot of questions. And I just want to let you all know that I do trust her. I trust our rep. And that's why I feel confident that I can come up to her and ask these hard questions. And I hope you feel the same. I hope you're not looking at this as just some political situation that's ambiguous and not involving you. I want you to be proactive. She's not from Minnesota, but she's still a good person. I think you've just described why I say that this is a very exciting time for RID. It looks ugly. It looks messy. And to be honest, it is a little bit. But in order for us to improve and change and make progress, that has to happen. And we have to take a step back and look, where do we go from here? So I am excited to be on the board, and the rest of the board members are also excited, just like I am, because we're looking for the right path to take. I mean, you're right, yeah, I can see that there's a conflict, and we also felt, okay, this doesn't necessarily feel right. And we realize that now is the right opportunity for us to take care of it. So I think it's a great idea. And I think that would be wonderful if we could split certification and membership up. And last night I had a wonderful conversation with Zito that continued into the hours of the night. And she was throwing all these wonderful ideas at me. And it was great. And I would love to see your ideas too. And so when I go into the board meeting on December 15th, I can represent you better. I can bring your ideas to the table. And I know that you'll support the vote that I have, because I have your feedback and I've heard from you. So please feel free to contact me at any time. I'm happy to listen at any time. And yes, that's it. Okay. Turn it back over.
Thank you, Sandra. I really greatly appreciate your help. So now we're going to switch focuses to licensure. I am going to clarify. I do not work for DSPS. I am not the master of every little bit of our licensure. But I know enough of the details to be able to clarify a few things. One of the questions from online, does DSPS accept RID's educational K-12 as certification for the regular license? The answer is yes. Hang on. You want clarification, or do you want me to? Okay. One moment, David Evans is asking. For regular non-restricted license, as we call it, we don't call it provisional, we call it non-restricted license, you have to be certified under RID, but they are accepting the RID's K-12 certification. And yes, and that is for community, correct, that's for community work. That's DSPS's, their understanding and their interpretation of the law. That is RID certification, whether it's the K-12 or the regular NIC certification or any other of them. We have already tried to clarify with DSPS to explain their error in their ways, but they feel that they are correct in their decision. So there you go. Katie Schmidt is asking, what is the requirements for the K-12 certification? So RID K-12 is you must pass the EIPA written, and you must pass the EIPA performance with a 4.0 or higher. And then you can apply through RID to be educationally, quote unquote, certified or K-12 certified. Okay. I go, Sarah said, if you have any questions, or excuse me, Sandra said, if you have any questions during this meeting, please don't hesitate to raise your hand. And then we can get communication rolling. For ease of interpretation, please come forward to the stage. Thank you. I should have set up the communication rules ahead of time. I apologize. The next question that was submitted is, will DSPS consider accepting BEI in lieu of RID certification? Other states such as Illinois, Michigan are accepting BEI to be equivalent to RID certification. Currently, with our law written the way it is, it says RID, NAD, or any other department determined equivalency. So that means that DSPS has to consider and ponder whether they're going to accept BEI as equivalency. I'm sorry, let me clarify. The BEI is the Board of Education for Interpreters. That's a Texas Board of Evaluation Interpreters? Yeah, okay. That is a text-based test. Other states have adopted it and have been using it for their licensing purposes. So could that happen in the state of Wisconsin? Yes, it is a possibility. It depends on DSPS and their decisions. We have already provided the documentation from Illinois and Michigan. Plus Texas, their information has also been provided to DSPS as how their advanced, EEI advanced testing would be equivalent to NIC. So we'll see what DSPS decides. Next question, can an interpreter continue to work with a restricted license if they can no longer take the WIDA? Parentheses, already been taken twice. Please come forward. So Michigan already has already had the BEI before I relocated here. So I have taken the BEI level 1 exam in Michigan. Could I apply for licensure with my BEI? Could I submit it? I have my license in Michigan. Could I submit that documentation? And would they consider that as providing, whether they would want to provide me licensure? And then does that restart my license cycle, or how does that work? Oh, wait. Right now, no. Right now, the answer is no, because DSPS has not announced their decision. It doesn't matter if you've already have a license in another state or if you've already taken some process of the BEI, they're not accepting it at this time. Your cycle, that I would have no idea how to comment about that. Again, that would be a DSPS decision. Okay. Going back to the WIDA and already taking it twice question from online. Again, I am not an expert of ODHH. So their requirements of taking the WIDA, I'm not 100% confident with that. But for restricted license purposes, you can only renew twice on that license. DSPS has already said they will not be flexible or extend, no matter the other circumstances that are going on in our field. The license clearly states that the restricted license can only be renewed twice. So DSPS has already come out and said they will not be flexible. And again, this is not my comment, but DSPS has already come out and said that WIDA is not required for maintaining your license, your restricted license. Again, going back to their interpretation of the law, that you have 30 days to report if your certification has lapsed. However, your certification has lapsed, which means that your license is also lapsed if your national certification has lapsed. And WIDA is not considered certification. It is simply what we call an assessment. So you only need WIDA when you actually first apply. You don't need it to renew. Oh, you need to apply and then you need it to renew. But if it lapses during that license 2 years, you're fine. You can still maintain your license until that time comes up. And again, that is according to DSPS. Because of the way the law is written, and the fact that the word certification is in there, not another term. Okay. I had other questions related to the WAD WISRID task force focusing on licensure. I want to clarify a few things related to that may have not been discussed before. First question was, why was there no call for task force members? Both of our boards decided to simply come up with a list of key stakeholders who would best represent you and all other members that would be affected. We threw several names in the ring, and then they were strategically picked to be a part of the task force. We felt that if the call went out, it would only delay the start of work on this issue, and we didn't want to delay it any longer than necessary. We've already had individuals that had contacted us. Those names were included in those lists, and decisions were made as to who would be on the task force. Next question is, why is the task force starting in the spring? It's not starting in spring. Let me clarify and be very clear. In the blog that I said, it did say spring, but let me go back. It is already started. They have already set up the task force. The chair has been appointed. We will soon have all the members in place. And then that task force will be charged with doing research. Where is the license? Where are the loopholes that need to be fixed? What are the concerns of the communities? And the goal in spring is to have recommendations for both boards to bring forward. So if the task force has already started, let me be very clear about that. The next question is, what issues will be addressed by this task force? Oh, right, the widow lapsing, but you still can maintain your restricted license. That's another concept. So we already know some of the issues that are going to be part of it. Also, they will be doing more in-depth research just in general. And all of that research will then lead to the recommendations to both WAD and Wizard Board. Next question is, will the task force partner with ODHH, specifically regarding testing dates for WIDA and licensure renewal? So again, ODHH currently only offers WIDA availability 3 times a year. So again, going with licensure cycles and WIDA cycles, that has come to be an issue as well. And we are working with ODHH and will continue to do so as a consult basis to discuss some of these issues. Again, going back to what WIDA and licensure and how those will result, again, the research has not been done yet, and we'll see how that goes. The next question, what is the foreseen end result of the task force? Again, predicting the future, not my forte. But hopefully, we will see a change for everybody, for all the communities that we serve. Yes, it will affect us, but our main end goal is to affect the communities that we serve, deaf and hearing as well, because they are our consumers. We could see an amendment to the law. We could see a new law altogether. Or we could leave it as it stands and provide clarification, working with DSPS, so they may understand the law itself, exactly what the purpose of it was, and the spirit of it. All right, any questions? Katie, would you like to comment at all? John.
everybody. Hi. So I hopped in this just a little bit late. I was doing a little bit of running around. I know that the moratorium started under financial reasons. That's fine. Is there anything being done right now to check out the fail rate, where the loop is, where the gap is, where the shortcomings are? Is it the test? I know we've had how many different, it's a valid test, that's fine. Is there anything going on to figure out, is it the ITP, the students are graduating and they're not ready? Is it the test itself? Because I know before, part of the reason that we had the new WIDA is because there were, from my understanding, issues with people teaching workshops to the test, so that this person may or may not, that's RID, and I see that's right. Did I say WIDA? Sorry. So, sorry. For the RID NIC, one of the issues was people that were teaching workshops to the test and interpreters were passing. They did have the NIC, but maybe their skills were not where they needed to be, but they were good for the test. So that is one of my questions, because I don't know the exact number now. The last time it was like 80%, and I know I've only taken it twice. 80% of people that have failed, excuse me. I've only taken it twice, but I know we all know people 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. A lot. They've taken it a lot. I'm not trying to blame anybody, but something's got to give. And I completely understand you're losing money off of the testing process and keeping the credentials. Sure, that's a problem. Losing money is always a problem. In my opinion, losing interpreters that work, that have never had a deaf person come up to them in the middle of assignment saying, "What the hell are you doing here? You should quit today." Sorry, but I'm about to be a victim of circumstance as well in a year now, I think. So I hope I pointed that as poised as I could. So that's my question. Not trying to attack anybody, but everything that I've seen so far from the vlogs and everything has not exactly satisfied what I would like to know. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. It's complicated, of course. We knew the hottest topic pre-conference, and there were petitions out. We knew that this was the hottest topic. So that was another layer in the board of RID and part of our decisions that we need to make. So the answer for the risk assessment, the short answer, addressing that pass-fail percentage, no, it doesn't address that specifically, because there are bigger issues on the table first. We did already start the process of developing a new test. If you saw the certification committee presenting on what was called the cycle of testing that was done at conference, and they also had them at some of the regional conferences about different workshops. They were gathering feedback and ideas from members about what the next set of testing should look like. So that process has already begun. One area that RID has failed is we have not monitored our testing process. We've developed the test, we've gone good to go, and we've left it sit. And that's bad practice, no doubt about it. There should be a constant monitoring, checking what's going on in the community, how things are working, how the test is working in its life cycle, and that hasn't been done. And that's been a long-term issue. And so now we have to focus on the financial wherewithal to really spend that and develop that into a good best practice. So to add that cost plus the monitoring plus the time that it's going to take is a great burden. And it's an investment that the RID has to take on, or be willing to take on. We've been told, statistically, it's valid. The testing company has said that. And that the grading, that it's reliable, and that they've done that. But we know that face value is not valid. It's not valid. We know it's not there. So specific to your answer, that actual pass-fail rate is not a part of the risk assessment, but it is there. The information is there. We're all very aware of it. And we know something must happen. I also should add briefly, this summer in New Orleans, there was a motion on the floor, and we obviously never got to it during the business meeting. But your Region 3 president, there were your region affiliate chapters in the Region 3 did make a motion that RID members accept BEI as equivalency to certification. That motion obviously never made it to the top of the agenda. So they actually did, those affiliate chapter presidents did write a letter to the board to ask the board to please consider it. Let me back up a second. For the BEI have to be accepted as equivalency, the members must pass it. That's a member decision. The board cannot take that decision on by themselves. So thank you for clarifying, yes. The certified, thank you again, certified members of RID would have to pass that. The board is not able to unilaterally decide that. So even if the board would decide, yes, we would like to provide this, we would like to give this as an opportunity for members, it still has to go out to membership for voting, and that's certified membership. But it is still on the table. That's not something that's been ignored. But the board would like to finish with the risk assessment, gathering all that data and figuring out what strategically we should be doing in the future as RID before we even ask membership to consider it as an equivalency. We are considering alternatives. So again, I would like to know all of your ideas and your feedback. If you've got stuff like that, like the BEI concept, please let me know. And if you feel like the NICS should not be opened again because of the fail rate, I would love your ideas. I would love other ideas to be able to bring to the table and how you're feeling and your feedback regarding that. I would just like to add one brief comment to Sandra. Yes, there have been other individuals researching other associations, professional organizations, and I've been doing that. I've focused on ATA, the American Translators Association, and their rate is about 20% pass. However, they don't recommend that most professionals take it. You must take several practice assessments. So to mimic their top test, but then it gives you feedback and it provides you opportunity and for you to know where your gaps are in your skills, so that if you'd like to take that test, that top tier test, you are aware of what it involves, and that pre-test is also cheaper than what we've seen in our profession as well, and it's cheaper than the top of the cream of the crop test as well. So we have to figure out how we can get these steps in place, getting the feedback necessary for these individuals to maybe take that top tier test. We can still have national standards, but we have to think about how we do that. And we have to ponder, is BEI what we want as our national standard? What do we want as our goal? What do we want as our certification to look like? Do we want feedback first? Do we want diagnostics involved and then reaching that pinnacle of certification? That's part of it as well. So there are other professions that have very parallels and they have gaps as well. Nothing is perfect. Some of them have licensure, some of them don't, but it's something to consider as well. Thank you, Zito. This is related to RID. It's a good question. What do we want? What do we want RID certification to look like? For myself, I want to have trust in the certification. Please hold for technical difficulties. Right now, there's no trust in our certification. For myself. I mean, I don't know what the rest of you are thinking. I don't know what other membership feels. My personal experience has been terrible. It's been a horrible experience. It's affected my life. It's affected my family. It's affected my career and my goals. And these all have been negative effects. RID speaks of transparency, and that's what they want. Hold on. Sandra, with all due respect, please understand. You are in a very, very hard position. I respect you greatly for what you're doing. Okay, now that I said that. The risk assessments and these results and this massive information that they've gotten, and then the willingness or unwillingness to share it, and they can't, but they want to protect themselves, immediately gets my suspicion up. Looking back to 2010 and 2011, with the fraud issues that were happening, many people already started focusing on that, and the anger was already there, and then everything started getting pushed under the rug, and it seemed like it was covered. And people are still seriously affected by that experience and by how they had to work with that. And people are still trying to get certified again from that experience. And some individuals have completely left the field. But we need interpreters, and our pool is shrinking. And it's been a horrible, horrible experience. So when I hear that we're only going to get access to part of the assessment rather than all the information, immediately going back to not being able to trust what's happening. Again, I have no experience of what happens at headquarters of RID. Of course, I don't know what happens at the board level. But my request is on December 15th, when that meeting occurs and everybody's at the same table having these honest discussions, that if the topic comes up of what the members know or what the members don't know, it is going to come to what we don't know will hurt us. I think there's a lot we don't know. And that scares me. I'm not blaming RID. Let me back up. If RID passes the NIC or the certification back to another organization to take, and that is my strong recommendation that that needs to happen. Allow us to build trust again in our organization. It seems like RID has attempted, at least in my opinion, to build it, and it has failed multiple times. There's too many people getting out. There's not that connection with RID, and I think RID is the one that is having that negative impact on our profession, and it's very sad, and it's painful. So my suggestion is to pass the certification on to another organization. For licensure, I encourage Wizard to be actively involved, which you are. Right now, many lives, many professions are being affected now. I already see interpreters putting down their last day of work on the calendar. And that's awful. We need people in this field. So if that means license needs to go on hold, or I don't know. I have no answers regarding that. But we need to keep our good, skilled people in this field. We need to support each other before we lose them. And that's it. Thank you. Where'd she go? Thank you. Your comments bring me back to the keynote of yesterday when Lisa spoke about our cups and how we juggle everything, what needs to be dropped at times, and where do we focus our energies. And I think we are there right now. No, next. Maria? Brittany, sorry.
I just have a question in regards to the task force. And I don't know if you can answer this question, but are one of the stakeholders going to be a lawyer? And I ask that because I myself have personally sought out a lawyer, not to sue anybody or anyone. Let me make that very clear. But because I wanted to know the honest truth about the law, because I have been misinformed. Has it been intentional? I do not believe so. But I would ask that it be taken into consideration. Because I think everybody on the task force has to have an equal understanding, interpretation of the law before we can move forward and change things. Thank you.
Would you like to come up for a comment? Leah's coming up. I want to remind everybody that WISRID and RID are member-led organizations. If our organizations fuck up, it's because we allowed it to happen. We allowed the board too much control. I mean, yes, the board members have a very tough job. I've served boards, and I bow before you all this morning, but please don't misunderstand that intention. And the goal is we are a member-driven organization. That means all of us in this room need to send Sandra your comments. Send Sandra your ideas. Call her on the phone. Put your name on it. Put your address. Get your contact information there. She will do the job that she is tasked with. But you control this organization. We control this organization. And we control RID. It is not a few stakeholders involved. So take that thought process as well. The test is an important and tough issue. I get it from all around. I'm a mentor, I'm a sponsor, I've been in the same boat. I've sent letters of support from multiple individuals. So we have to stand up, because if you sit quietly, there's no one to blame but ourselves. I'm sorry.
Hello again. All right, Julia, transparency. That's what I'm talking about. Transparency, right? To know what the hell's going on. So, December 15th, you guys are getting together, right? Live stream it. Live stream the discussion. Would you be willing to do that so we can see exactly what's happening? Transparency. That's a suggestion. So, you would watch? You would watch? You'd watch? Some sort of feedback, maybe during comments. They don't have to read them out loud, but kind of let them know what's going on. So, just a thought.
Thank you, John. I will pass that along. Oh, I am not the sole decision maker, but however, I will advance that. I will pass that along and support that idea as a member suggestion. It's an interesting dynamic because we send out a lot of blogs. Anna Witter-Murphy has sent out blogs. We try to keep the information running. But as we watch the statistics of these blogs, most people don't watch them all the way through. Most people will start the video and then after 2 or 3 minutes, will simply stop and they don't watch the complete comments. I don't blame anybody, but it's interesting is that we're not often individuals are watching this in between jobs or whatever, and then they just don't get back to it, and that's fine. But I guess tell me how else we can disseminate information. I would love to know what everybody would like to know as far as how can we communicate better? What is effective for our membership as far as communication? I mean, we just need ideas. And I'm very open to those ideas. So keep them coming and please contact me. I'm going to deeply apologize, but time has run out in this meeting this afternoon. And it's time for our next sessions to start. Thank you all for coming. Thank you, Sandra, Region 3. My experience, I just have to make this quick comment. How RID deals with people and how Sandra deals with people are very, very different. You can have a really honest, good conversation with Sandra. You will get straight answers. So please contact her. She will be as honest as humanly possible. Thank you. Very, very approachable. This is Sandra. Thank you for your willingness to get up with your comments today. I appreciate you all. And thank you for showing your vulnerability.